In this interview, we continue our conversation with Abhinav Jindal, a G2 leader of family-owned Jindal Group's hospitality portfolio, who also works as a coach of next-gen leaders. He points to a Family Enterprise Canada study showing that 1 in 5 family business leaders is dealing with a mental health challenge, and argues the issue is one that belongs in the boardroom rather than something people are expected to quietly work through on their own time. He also talks about growing up in an Indian household where elders were never questioned, and how learning to speak up calmly instead of anxiously bracing for conflict changed both his business relationships and his relationship with his dad. So I wanted to also ask about the topic of mental health, because I know that's something that you're passionate about. And
So
there
much.
was I think it was Family Enterprise Canada, right? There was a study that said that 1 in 5 family business leaders is dealing with a mental health challenge. And one of the things that you talk about is that this is a boardroom issue in a family business. It's not just a personal issue that you're supposed to go off and kind of deal with in the background before you come to work, right? Can you talk more about what that means and what this issue means to you in terms of it being sort of a holistic boardroom issue in the family business?
Yeah, for sure. It was the Family Enterprise Canada, and more precisely, the Family Enterprise Foundation, that said mental health. The studies call from silence to strength, and they mentioned it's now becoming a boardroom issue. I 100% agree with it. More clarity on that. It says 1 in 5 people in the family business or members of the family business have a mental illness, not a mental health challenge. Why that distinction is important is because a mental illness is considered as maybe a depression or a disorder, something that is clinically proven as a mental illness in our psychology terms.
Yeah.
Why I wanted to distinguish that is because I believe more than 1 in 5 people are facing a mental health challenge. They're just not being diagnosed because of it, because the challenge has not affected their life to a point where it becomes an illness.
Great point. Yeah. So
And
this is even more of a prevalent
I
issue
think
than
so.
we're saying.
Before I go into this, I want to point out, from the moment we are born, we take in emotions. We take in positive emotions and we take in negative emotions. Now, our body knows how to process food. We eat in food. Our body is so smart, it knows what's to keep and what to excrete. Now, imagine if you didn't poop for a few days. Maybe a few days you might go fine,
Yeah.
A week, though, you have an emergency and you gotta rush to the hospital.
Yeah.
Your intestine can blow up, and this is medically speaking about this.
Yeah.
We take in and experience emotions from the time we are born, and this is human. Positive emotions are good. Negative emotions are stored within our body, within our neurology, inside our unconscious mind. Those negative emotions then drive our behaviors, drive our decisions, and they impact our entire life. Mental health is very linked with emotions and emotional health as well. I work with people to resolve emotional baggage and limiting beliefs, which is both mental and emotional health. And in every damn case, I see the negative emotions that are stored impact the mental health to a major way, in a major way. I just worked with someone yesterday. I did a breakthrough session, and this person, since the past 7 years, has tremendous fear. His health was being impacted, his physical health. There was nothing wrong with his body, yet the person kept thinking that he has a big disease inside of body. He would get a headache and he would think he is getting a heart condition. He would not be able to digest food properly. He got to a point where he would really get scared out of leaving his house.
Wow.
So this person saw me, who is also a second generation business owner.
Yeah.
Who's also a second generation business owner. And we started talking. I started eliciting his history, understanding what his deeper issue is. None of those symptoms were actually related to health. It was all because of deep-rooted baggage between his brother and father, and how his father favored his brother more than he did, and some childhood issues or childhood experiences that he had been holding on to.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
he let those fear, that anger, that hurt, that sadness, those limiting beliefs go, I just talked to him before getting on this call, and he is like, I'm good. He's reduced his sleep medication. He would take a pill to sleep. He's
Yeah.
like, since yesterday, the negative thoughts haven't popped up in my head. And
Yeah.
every client that I work with, it's a very similar experience where childhood experiences affect the way people show up, their identity, who they are, how they show up in business, and how their mental health is. My
Yeah.
take on a boardroom issue, first, my take is every single human should work on their mental health. Just like all of us would want to work physically or eat healthy. We all know that eating healthy is good. We
Right.
all know that working out is good for our body, and that's for the physical body.
Yeah.
The mental body and the emotional body often goes unneglected. Now the issues are coming up more, and it has become a boardroom issue because the people have started seeing more and more impact of these unresolved emotions and childhood experiences that are showing up in the business. And that's why it has become a boardroom issue. My take is every human should work on their mental health and their emotional health. We all experience emotions, and there's nothing wrong with storing onto them. Well, I say there's nothing wrong because it's part of being human.
Right.
The wrong happens when we don't resolve those emotions or those
Yeah.
childhood experiences which are impacting our life negatively.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would imagine that's even, like you said, those childhood experiences that you carry with you throughout your life and they affect how you show up in business, especially in a family business, because so much of those emotions are tied to these people that you're working with, right?
100%.
Because
Yes.
you grew up with them, right? So, quite literally. So, yeah. And I think it's a really important point that, these toxic emotions are as unhealthy as any other toxin that you would kind of keep in your body without getting rid of, right?
From
And I
my
think,
experience, it's more.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's a really great point. Well, so with all of this background, let me just wrap up on this question. It's kind of a two-parter, so I'm cheating a little bit. But what has been for you the most challenging thing about being a next gen leader in your family business? And then what would you say on the flip side has been the most rewarding thing about that?
See, personally, for me, the most challenging thing was standing up to myself, taking my stand and speaking up to my father
Mm,
or to my elders.
yeah,
I've grown up in in an Indian household where it's always respect your elders. The elders are always right. And as an adult, that affected me because early days in my business, before even speaking something where there was a conflict, in my head, I would cook up and get all stressed out of how the conversation's gonna go and how I'm not gonna be heard and how my decisions are not gonna be respected and I'm not gonna be respected and all of that. And that was the biggest challenge that I had to face in family business, where I had a hard time speaking up for myself, taking my stand, and putting out my opinions in a very congruent and a non-angry way, in a calm way.
yeah,
That was the most challenging thing for me. When I got rid of my negative emotions, that challenge also kind of went away. Not kind of,
yeah,
it just went away. And now I'm able to have very genuine conversations with my dad in a very calm way. And we have so many wonderful conversations that have not only grown our business, but also got us closer as a father and a son. The most rewarding thing for me being a part of my family business has been the experience that I've been able to gain and who I have become in result of the experiences that I've had in life and the
yeah,
support for sure. Why I say this is because I got out of my university and I started looking after my resort. For 2 years, I operated a resort. That gave me the courage, the confidence to come in a new country where I know almost no one and start something of my own.
yeah.
Then I also looked after a construction of a 5-star resort. We recently opened a Marriott last year,
Yeah.
again in Jim Corbett in India. And for 1 year, I looked after the construction. I got to work with all these amazing individuals and professionals. Um, and on my coaching side as well, the experience that I've gained in the past 9 years, being in business, uh, that's invaluable. And I could
Yeah.
only get that because I was part of a family business. If I had got started in a job or I had started by myself, there's no way in my first year of business I could have gotten the experience of not just being a part of a property, but managing and operating and kind of owning the entire property and running it and
Yeah.
growing it. And that's so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And you made such an important point when you were talking about sort of the first challenge that you encountered. Um, that idea of like the assumptions that we make about how conversation's going to go. So I don't work with my family, I don't work with my parents, but to this day I still do that. Like, oh, I know what's going to happen if I say this. They're going to say this, and this is how it's going to
Yeah.
go. And 9 times out of 10, I'm completely wrong about what the
Yes.
reaction is. And I think
I'm
like
with you.
right? That happens so much, I feel like,
Yeah.
in family businesses that you're trying to anticipate what's gonna happen, and then you're psyching yourself out, and it's kind of like, you're better off just jumping in and having the conversation because it's probably gonna go differently than you're expecting, right?
Yes. And what happens when you've already made assumptions, you're already going with a negative mindset. You might
Yep.
already be angry before even having a conversation. And when you
Yeah.
do that, the response is always going to, most of the time, it's going to be negative. Or even if they give a good response, the other person might lash out as well because you're already going, you're never listening to me. So one time I
Yeah.
want to listen to you and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Versus like, hey, can I have an honest conversation with you? This is what has happened and this is what I feel, and I would really love your support in it. When you have a conversation which is rooted in authenticity, it's a whole different energy you're bringing into the conversation, and then the next person, the person you're talking to, is actually listening to you.